Today's video is brought to you by Factor. Factor takes the stress out of meal planning. Skip the grocery stores, prep work, and cooking fatigue. Instead, eat stress-free with Factor's delicious, ready-to-eat meals delivered right to your door. I stay pretty busy around here, and Factor is a go-to lunch and dinner solution for me. It doesn't get more convenient than this. Not only are they super quick and easy to make, all these meals are fresh, never frozen, they're dietitian approved, restaurant quality chef crafted meals, and they're ready to go in just 2 minutes. Let me show you guys how simple this is. We got a honey mustard chicken with roasted rosemary, potatoes, and garlic green beans. We're just gonna go ahead, poke a couple holes. Then we can just go ahead, throw this in the microwave, set that guy for 2 minutes, just like that. And you're ready to eat. I gotta say, that is a good looking meal for coming fresh out of the microwave. I used to eat a whole bunch of fast food, and ever since we started eating these Factor meals, it's been way more convenient for me, and these are definitely a lot healthier than all the fast food I used to eat. And when I would eat a lot of fast food, it got really repetitive and bland, but with Factor, there's 35 weekly recipes to choose from, and you can change it up to fit your specific needs. You can get vegetarian meals, keto meals, all kinds of stuff to fit your specific goals. Not only is it healthier than fast food, but it also tastes way better. Get some green beans in there. I think if you guys tried one of these, you'd be surprised how good they taste. If you guys want to get started on Factor, all you have to do is go to factor75.com or click on the link in the description down below and use code 50BoostedBoys to receive 50% off plus free shipping on your first Factor box. That is factor75.com, code 50BoostedBoys for 50% off and free shipping on your first Factor box. Thank you to Factor for sponsoring today's video. What's up, guys? Today we drug the Routacy out of its hole. This thing's been sitting under the carport for the last several months. The last time we had the Routacy out, we raced it against the Platacy when the Platacy was still a thing, and it went a 9.5 out at the drag strip. Oh! 9.5! And now that the Platacy doesn't exist anymore, the Routacy is now officially the world's fastest Honda Odyssey once again, because the Platacy doesn't exist until we make version 2. And today we are going to be doing some work on this thing because I asked you guys in a previous video what you think we should bring to Sick Week, and I do want to ask you guys again just to be sure. I'll put maybe 2 comments down below, take your vote so we can make it official, but I have a feeling it might lean towards the good old Routacy here. So we got the Routacy is one of my options for Sick Week, or we got the Jet Turbine minivan over here. I haven't ran this one at the track yet, and I have Chris's blessing to take this thing on Sick Week if we want to do so. My concern is it might not pass tech. They are pretty strict at the tech, but this does have a roll bar in it. It has a proper firewall, and it should have everything it needs if we put some harnesses in it to pass tech, and we could take this on Sick Week, which would be pretty cool. But the other option is to take the good old Routacy here, and we haven't done much with the Routacy in a long time. But before we can even get this thing fired up, if you guys come look back over here, she's been sitting for a while, and we made the mistake of leaving E85 in this thing, and it got pretty gross back here as far as the fuel system goes. So if you look down in the tank here, not sure how well you guys can see that, but there's like a lot of nastiness going on down in the tank. It almost looks like there's like mold growing down in there. I'm gonna have to pull that fuel cell out of it and completely clean it out, probably blow all the lines out, double check the injectors. I don't even want to attempt to start this thing. The Florida weather is just really rough on stuff if it sits outside. I mean, you can just see how dirty the taillights and all this grime is right here. Why I had it out earlier and got it power washed off, but she's been sitting for a while. The radials are like dry rotted. I got some slicks on the way for it, and we're going to go ahead and start to prep this thing in case we got to take this one or the turbine van on Sick Week. Either way, we're going to take a fast, cool minivan on Sick Week, and Wyatt's getting his truck turned around. He has a ton of work to do on that. So I'm gonna go ahead and start by getting this pulled in, start pulling the fuel system apart. Maybe we can get it fired up today because it's been a while. But yeah, be sure to leave your vote down below because either way, we're taking one of these rigs. All right, guys, so I'm draining some of the fuel out of the tank, and it's bad. I don't know if you can bring the camera down in here. Look at this. This was a clean jug. I don't know if you can get like a zoom in down there. Look at this. Look at all the crap that's in that tank. That is like old rubber line that's probably broke down. Like that E85 is gross. So the whole fuel system right now is cooked in the Routacy. So I'm gonna go ahead and clean the tank out as good as I can, keep draining it out. It looks like there's a lot of, I don't want to get my hand in there. I'll probably pull this cap off and show you. There's a whole bunch of like gel and goop at the bottom of the cell. We're gonna have to blast all the lines out, injectors, rail, it all has to come apart, guys, because that's rough. Check out what came out of there.
Mm.
Yeah, look at that,
Yeah.
delicious.
That looks great.
Yeah, that is very sedimenty.
Yeah, looks like there's a lot of jelly in the bottom of that tank.
Yeah, you
too.
see all that? I didn't really show it earlier, but look at that.
Yep.
Guys, look how much gel is at the bottom of that tank from all the E85 sitting.
That's bad.
That's probably the worst I've ever seen.
Yeah, that's
So,
definitely up there.
what do we need to do to prevent that? Like, run some pump gas through it if they sit?
Not really, just drain them.
'Cause, I mean, even the pump gas gets gross after a long time.
The E85 and pump gas make it even worse, at least from my experience. They still gel up bad. So really you have to drain it and put pump gas in it, get rid of the E85 altogether, because the E85 absorbs air or water moisture out of the air, and it's super humid in Florida.
That's what sucks about Florida. I mean, we don't have enough indoor AC storage for all the cars, and
yeah,
the Rousey kind of got forgotten about.
I'm sure there's some additive out there. They'll say it in the comments about you can put in E85 and makes it more stable for stuff like that, I'm sure, but other than just draining it out.
That is not good, boys. Good thing we didn't try to start it,
Yeah.
because it would have really clogged everything.
Oh, yeah.
Hopefully the injectors aren't too bad. Like, if they're, I don't know, but there's probably gunk sitting in
All
them
the way
too.
up into it, yeah.
Time to see behind door number 1 here. Got the filter off, and actually doesn't look too bad. I thought it was going to be way worse considering how bad that tank and gas looked. There's a little bit of gel buildup right here in the fins, but overall it's actually pretty clean there. I've seen worse. The hatch actually has gotten really bad after sitting, and one day I pulled that filter out and this was just like literally like just gel, completely packed after the E85 sat for so long. So not too bad. Get her cleaned out, get a new cartridge in there, and just double check the pump, clean that thing out real good. We're gonna have to go ahead and probably blow all the lines out, make sure just we get it as clean as possible, because it's really bad, and you know, just one little speck can really ruin your fuel system. And this is honestly the only filter we run in the van. A lot of the higher horsepower stuff we just run a single post pump, because we've had issues with the tighter micron pumps gumming up with the 85 after they just sit for a little bit, and it's caused us issues. So yeah, we'll get her all cleaned up, get her back together, and we should be able to fire the Rousey up today. All right, guys, I got the injectors pulled out of the Rousey here. We got them in our little injector flow tester right here. This thing is nothing fancy. I'm really just gonna look at the spray pattern. These are fresh out of the rail. I just brake cleaned them off. There didn't seem to be too much gunk in them. I'm assuming that since these had fuel in them the whole time, there was no air in the lines to allow oxygen and moisture to kind of build up in there. So they actually look to be in pretty good shape. I'm really just gonna be looking at the spray pattern right here to make sure none of them are, you know, dribbling or gummed up or just don't open up at all, because we've seen it happen. But this injector flow bench tester right here, it's not the fanciest one, and I've had brand new injectors run through this and they still don't, you know, flow the same amounts. So I'm really just looking for the spray pattern here, and we'll go from there. If I need to send these in, probably do it anyways just before sick week, but I want to see if we can at least fire the Rousey up today so we can let it drive under its own power and not push it. So let's give these a quick flow. Honestly, they're all, see, this one had a little dribble on that guy, but you can see the difference. You can see this one chooching along compared to these guys. I mean, the spray pattern's definitely a little better on this guy right here. That's outperforming the other 3. But I mean, overall, all things considered, with how bad that fuel system looked, not terrible. I don't mind running it like this. Definitely don't want to be ripping on it too hard. But yeah, that'll be good enough just to get them in there, get it running for now. We'll send those in and probably have them professionally cleaned before we go on sick week or attempt to take it to the track. All right, guys, went through the entire fuel system. Like I said, those injectors did flow a little unevenly, but I'm not too worried about it right now. We'll definitely get that handled before we really rip on it. I do kind of want to drive this thing a little bit, maybe make a little bit of boost, but I won't go crazy until that's addressed. Got the fuel cell completely cleaned out, blew all the lines out, cleaned the pump out, filter's good, everything's good to go, and now we're just going to put some fresh E85 in it because it has not had clean gas in it for a very long time. We'll go ahead, top her off, and see if this thing will fire up, because I guarantee if we tried to start it with that stuff that was in there, it would have really just clogged everything up and it would have not ran for long, if at all. All right, guys, we got fresh E85 in the Odyssey here. Time for her to come out of retirement and fire up the baddest Odyssey out there. It was a little dead, so I got my little jump pack on there. This little jack pack right here. Actually, Ben Pack sent us these. They sent us a few of them back when we got the lifts, and they work really good. Not many of those small little jump packs hold a good charge, but those work good, and she needs it because it's a little dead. So go ahead, try to fire it up. It might take a second to build fuel pressure, but she should be good to go. It hasn't ran in a while, like I said, so finally time to fire this thing back up. Being outside. Yeah, we definitely need to let this thing heat up. Yeah, she's been sitting for a while, boys. All right, that's probably not good for it. Luckily, the turbo sits higher than the downpipe, so hopefully that water was just pulled up down in there. It shouldn't have gotten up to the turbo, so I don't think it's a big deal, but that was quite a bit of water. I'm gonna fire it back up and let it warm up. The Odyssey is back up and running, boys. She hasn't ran in so long. Been a minute since we've heard this thing fire up, but I'm gonna go ahead, let it warm up, let some heat run through this thing, and then I gotta go ahead and get this thing up on the lift because we got some new tires for this thing that we gotta test fit for Sick Week. All right, guys, got the Odyssey up on the lift, and I went ahead and pulled the wheels off of this thing because I am putting some slicks on the Odyssey for the first time ever. We've always ran this thing on a radial. It's had these radials on it for a really long time, these M&H's, but they are getting really old. I mean, I think I put these on probably at least 4 years ago, maybe more, and you can see they're just starting to get really dry rotted. They've been out in the sun and they're just no longer safe. This one actually had a pretty good hole in the sidewall that I plugged just to try to get it to roll around. So it's time for these old radials to go, and then I did have some other radials for it that were more of the treadless style radial, but nonetheless they were a radial, and the radials are a little bit harder on the driveline components. And as you guys know, in the past we've had issues with the drivetrain in the Odyssey because it's just such a heavy vehicle for an all-wheel drive Honda setup. It's probably a little over 3,000 pounds with me in it, and that's light compared to most cars, but for an all-wheel drive 4-cylinder Honda drivetrain, it puts a lot of stress on things, especially since we're pushing this thing a little over 1,000 horsepower. We do have all of the drivetrain beefed up, and I'm not even sure if we're gonna have any extra axles or spares if we do take this on Sick Week. So we gotta look into that a little bit as well. And I wanna try to go easy on the drivetrain and also put up good numbers. So I think we gotta go ahead and make the change to some slicks. So I got 2 brand new ones for the front. These are just Mickey Thompson 26 by 8.5 here, and then I got 2 that were old ones from the MR2 that are still in really good condition, and we'll throw those on the rear tires, and we will go ahead and swap those out from track to track. And there's also a good time for me to mention, if any of you guys out there happen to have some stock Odyssey Steelies off a first gen Honda Odyssey, or the clip-on hubcaps as well, I'd love to get a factory set for street driving. So if anyone out there has some, let me know. I'm not sure if any other 5x114 Steely will work. It probably would, so maybe message me if you guys have a Honda Odyssey laying around for parts. I really want to go after the hubcaps because I have the ones off of this, but I believe they're still back in Colorado. I don't know if I threw them away or not. Maybe I'll message Brent, but just in case, let me know what you got. But I'll go ahead and throw these tires on for right now, and this will be the first time the Odyssey has ever ran on slicks. And then we're also going to be adding a handbrake to this thing as well, because that was the other issue, is we couldn't get it to launch good because I was just trying to roll out and take off because we never had a proper handbrake in the Odyssey. So we're also going to be installing a handbrake if we take it on Sick Week. Hopefully we can launch it a little better and just go from there. So let's go ahead and get these slicks mounted up. Dang, guys, we finally got the Odyssey on some slicks. So hopefully that will be a little bit easier on the drivetrain components next time we take it out to the track, because we're really gonna need this thing to hold together if it's gonna make it all the way through sick week, because this thing likes to break parts.
Yeah,
so
doesn't have a great track record.
yeah, it hasn't gone good in the past. Hopefully we can make it through if this is the one that we're end up gonna be taking, but it is getting dark outside and there wasn't much action in this video. So we're gonna at least end it off and attempt to do a two-step. Plugged in some settings, let her build some boost for the first time in a long time. And then we're going to double check those injectors. I don't wanna rip on it too hard until that's all good to go. And then we got an e-brake to install. Yeah. Maybe try to get it back to the track, make sure it's good to go. And then get the hitch on there.
Yeah.
Should be good.
Small list of stuff, but shouldn't be too bad of a deal.
Yeah. A little sneak peek of Wyatt's trailer in the background. We'll save that for his truck video.
Yeah. If it makes it. We'll see.
If it makes it. Little behind schedule on that one.
Yeah. Even more today, but.
All right.
Whatever.
Well, let's fire this thing up. End it off with some fireballs. That's the one thing this van is never disappointed with. Is rowdy two-steps.
She definitely puts the rowdy in the name Rowdy. So now we just got to get an e-brake on this thing, double check a couple final things. We'll get her to the track, hopefully shake it down before if we have some time. And yeah, let me know, guys, if you want the Rowdy to go to sick week or the jet van. I'm fine either way, whatever you guys would rather see. And that's going to do it for this video. We'll see you guys later.